I'm John McQuaid with 8541 Tactical, and we're here today to talk to you about the brand new Borka torque driver from Borka Tools. This is a new tool that they're releasing from 2019. So Borka Tools was nice enough to sponsor this video to have us introduce you to the new tool and demonstrate to you some of the different applications for it and different configurations for the kit. Now the first thing you'll notice is this comes in a Maxpedition pouch. This is a departure from Borka Tools. Previously it was offered in a tab gear pouch. The tab gear pouch is still available, but it really works best for some of the smaller configurations of the kit. It does have a little bit of limitations when you start to put a lot of stuff in here because of the way the pouch is divided up. And the Maxpedition pouch offers you a whole lot more options as well as MOLLE mounting options, so you can mount this on the outside of your pack and have it readily accessible. When we get into the inside of the pouch, you'll see why this is a really great option when you need to bust it out quick, really find the piece that you need, get going and get things back together. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what we have inside the pouch. Now, one of the first things about the new pouch, the Maxpedition pouch, is when you flip this thing open, it lays out flat really nice. You can see all the contents and allows you to get in really quickly and get what you need. When you open it up for the first time, you will notice it comes with this little piece of foam. You can discard that if you want. It's just to keep the tools from grinding against each other in transit. You may want to keep it in here if you just want to keep your tools looking nice. That is totally up to you. Now what we have here is the full torque tool combo kit, so it has all the expansion pieces involved in it, but we're going to talk about first the individual pieces that come in the basic kit. So the first thing you have here is your Borka torque driver, and you get the main portion of the tool that has the beam on it here, and then you have the driver portion of the tool here. We will go into detail on exactly how to set this guy up and how to use it, but this is your main portion of the tool. You also get this little mini ratchet here, which this thing is really cool, especially when you're breaking something down quickly and you're not worried about the torque values. You just need to take something apart really quick, say you're dismounting a scope, then this guy is great. It does come with a 1/4-inch socket already on it, and it is a 1/4-inch drive, so if you want to expand this kit, you really can. But what the 1/4-inch socket on the 1/4-inch drive does is give you the ability to grab any of your bits, throw it on there, and have a little bit of an extension. Now, if you need to go a little bit lower profile, you need to be kind of flat, then you can take this guy off. You can just put your bits in the back here, and then that will get you really close down to your working surface. Now, one of the really neat pieces about this ratchet is that it is just really low profile, really minimalistic. You have a little switch here that changes your direction, and if you really need to move something in quick, you really want to dial a fastener in quick, you have the exposed gear up here, so you can just run your thumb along it or drive it in with your fingers until you get to that point where you're stopping and you just need a little bit of extra torque to drive it in, and then you're good to go. So overall, this is a really nice tool and fits right into its own spot right there. You also get a really nice selection of bits here. You can see that we have standard, we have metric, and then we also have a nice little assortment of Torx bits, Phillips bits, and then you have your hex to 1/4-inch drive adapter, so that again you can put different sockets in here if you wish, and that will mainly be used when you are utilizing the torque driver tool. And they slip back under their little elastic keepers here. And as you can see, the elastic keepers in here really allow you to keep everything exactly where you want it and keep it from sliding around in the pouch. So the last piece that we have here is this extension and a 1/2-inch socket, and this is a really great addition to be able to use on your scope mounts or a lot of the rings out there. They come with 1/2-inch drive nuts on them, so you can use that with the extension, and you can put it on the Borka torque driver and get those scope mounts tightened down to exactly where you need them. So again, that is a really nice option. Now let's talk about some of the pieces that you will find in the expanded kit. The first thing we'll talk about is the AI multi-caliber service wrench that we have here. This has a opening in here that is cut perfectly for the barrel flats on the Accuracy International AT and AX multi-caliber rifles. So this guy will be very helpful in getting your barrel off the rifle. So you just slide it on there, either use it by hand. If you need to apply a little bit extra torque, it does have wrench cutouts in here, so you can go ahead and use it on a torque wrench in a more bench style environment, but in the field you can just grab a hold of it with your hand and use it if you just need a little bit more oomph to get that barrel out. So that is a really nice option there. You also have two optional custom extended bits here. And these guys, the first one we have here is a 3/16 inch. This is excellent for chassis systems. It will fit a lot of the Remington style chassis systems to be able to reach down in there and get those action screws that are fairly deep inside the chassis. Very often you run into situations where the screw hole in the chassis is too narrow to get a standard extension in, and so these extended bits will reach down in there and get it. So again, we have the 3/16 inch. We also have the 5/32 inch right here, and the 5/32 inch is great for a variety of different things, to include Ruger 1022s. The end here will get into your action mounting screw, and then you can also get down and get those V-block mounting screws. So if you need to swap a barrel out on the 1022, this will give you a little bit of extra distance. It does have that ball end on it, so you can offset from the barrel far enough to get your ratchet on, and then to get your torque tool on it when you are putting that V-block back in. So those are really nice extras. And then of course you also have an extension here, really nice high quality extension with a magnetic bit holder in the end. So this will give you a little bit extra reach to your ratchet or to your torque driver. And they do come in these really nice tool holders here, so they won't rattle around in your kit. They're a little bit more protected, and you don't quite have to worry about them wearing holes down in the pouch. Now you see the way we have everything laid out here in the pouch. These stick back in the pocket, and they lay crosswise all the way down here in the bottom of the pouch. So you stick them down in there in the bottom, everything else lays flat, and we are really good to go on that side. Now additionally, in the extended kit you have this emergency cleaning rod here. This is made by ProShot for Borka tools, and it is a really nice setup. You get a handle and you get 6 rod segments, and you get this little brass rod end on here. Comes in this nice little plastic tube that holds everything nice and neat, and this could be a lifesaver for you at a match. So the intention here is that if you get a stuck case in your rifle, then you can put these rod segments together until you have just enough to reach down through your barrel to the chamber, and then you put your brass end on here. And of course this protects the open threaded end of the rod. So once you get this set up to exactly the length that you need, thread it down through the barrel, and you just pop that end, and hopefully that will knock your case out of the bottom. Obviously, if you have a bore obstruction, you can run it through from the other end and knock a bore obstruction out. The one thing you do not want to do is you don't want to use this as a cleaning rod. First of all, it is a segmented rod, and while it's coated so it's designed not to damage your bore at all. It is not swivel, so there's no swivel in the handle. The only swivel that you would get is from tightening or untightening the joints, and that's going to cause you all kinds of problems. So you don't want to run it in any situation where you have a tool that you want to follow the rifling. You can screw on chamber brushes or that kind of stuff on here, but it's really not recommended. Now once you get done clearing your case or your bore obstruction, it's fairly easy to put this thing back together. You just take your 6 rods and you take your plastic tube and drop these guys back down in there, and then just kind of maneuver your handle back into the middle. Slide it down in there, and then slide it back into its spot in the pouch. And again, your setup, everything is good to go. Now the final configuration we're going to talk about is the Torque Tool Combo Kit. Now the Torque Tool Combo Kit takes everything that you previously had in here and adds one more thing. So we'll reach in here into the opposite side of the pouch and pull it out. And the first thing that you will notice here is you have a precision torque limiter. This is a 4 inch-pounds precision torque limiter, and that will really help you out with something like a Night Force scope. On the Night Force scopes, the zero stop screws are these very fine screws, so you do get this 5/64 inch bit. It snaps right into the end of your precision torque limiter, and you can use this thing just like a large screwdriver to turn it in. You don't really need to put it on the end of a ratchet because just utilizing it with hand pressure is enough to dial this guy in and go ahead and seat those screws without any worry about stripping them out. You can configure it with other torque limiters if you wish to do so. That way you can have it set up specifically for exactly what you intend to do or the firearm that you intend to work on. But being able to have that and being able to reset the zero stops on your Night Force scope without any concern for stripping out those screws, that is a very nice option. And again, you can also use the precision torque limiter with any of the other bits on other set screws of the same nature. And again, very low possibility of stripping them out when you use a precision tool like the precision torque limiters. And as always, it stows right back down into the bottom of the pouch, slides down there in the bottom and is out of the way. And so we are able to close everything up. Throw this back into your pack, and now you know you're going out with the ability to service most things that might actually go wrong on your rifle. Now let's demonstrate how to use the Borka torque driver. So the first thing you'll want to locate is your actual driver portion of the tool. We'll unscrew it. Now you're going to take your beam portion of the tool and you need to determine how much torque you actually want. So here we are going to torque the mounting screws on our SIG scope mount here. So these, we're going to go ahead and torque these guys down to 65 inch-pounds. So we will take the beam portion of the torque tool and we'll locate 65. So it is the dot here between 60 and 70. And we're going to locate the arrow on the driver portion, and we are just going to stick this guy in, and we are going to tighten the knob down onto the end here. Now we're going to run it down until it just starts to give us a little bit of friction, and now we are going to slide the tool until we get to that dot between 60 and 70, and then it should take only about a quarter turn to lock it down, and now we are dialed right in there to 65 inch-pounds. Then we are going to take our 1/4 inch hex to 1/4 inch drive, and we're going to drop that in, and then we are going to take our 1/2 inch, and you can use the extension or not use the extension. We have a rather large turret here, but I think we're going to clear without the extension, so we're going to pop our extension off and set that aside, and we are just going to use the 1/2 inch socket. So we're going to attach the 1/2 inch socket, and our tool is configured. So we are using the heavy side of the tool. So when we use the heavy side of the tool, we are going to be pushing on the flat side of the button. If you're using the light scale, then there is a little divot in the other side of the tool, and that's where we're going to be pushing on. Now, because we are all the way down here on the end of the tool, what I like to do is take my hand and between my pinky finger and my ring finger, I'm going to wrap those around the knob. We've got this nice hourglass contour here on the knob, so I'm just going to wrap my fingers around there, come around and put my thumb on that button, and that's going to have us right where we need to be to get the leverage that we need. So we're going to set it on the fastener, and then I'm just basically going to control it with my hand, and then I'm going to push with my thumb. And once we reach our desired torque, you hear it pop, and then the button pushes through. Now we need to push the button back to reset it. Now we're going to go on the opposite side. Same thing. And pops, there we go. Pop it back to reset it. And that really is all there is to it. Now, when we break it down, we're just going to pull back on the collar, slide out the socket, slide out the bit, put those down, unscrew our knob from the back of the driver, remove it, screw that back on to protect the threads, and then put it all back in the case. It's just really as simple as that. Now we're going to demonstrate the 4 inch-pounds precision torque limiter. So we just go ahead and pull the torque limiter out of its package in the bag. We're going to go ahead and get our 5/64 inch bit for this purpose, drop it in there. It is retained by a spring, so it does stick in there pretty well. And this is a really simple tool because we're just basically going to use it like a screwdriver. So we're going to find the hole in our scope cap here, and we're just going to turn. And when the tool breaks over, when you hear it click and you feel that snap, you have reached your torque, you're done, you don't have to do anything else. So again, a really nice thing when you are dealing with scopes at a match and you want to make sure you get those screws tight enough that the scope cap is not going to slip and you're not going to lose adjustments, but you also want to be very careful that you don't strip out steel threads in an aluminum scope cap, etc. Or as we mentioned with the Night Force scopes, you have those screws in brass hardware, so you really want to make sure that you're very careful with those and you don't over torque those. So that is the precision torque limiter. So those are the basics on the Borka torque driver, standard, expanded, and combo sets. Really, it gives you the option to be able to configure this kit for whatever you need for your precision rifle, bicycle, motorcycle, etc. Whatever you happen to need, as long as it is that 10 to 70 inch-pound range, you can configure this kit to be able to work on it. So very nice overall components, very high quality material, stainless, chrome-plated steel, anodized aluminum. Borka Tools did a very good job on this. I've used the adjustable torque driver for quite a few years, working on weapons both here at the bench and out in the field. And the new Borka torque driver really just tops everything that the old kit did and then more. So really nice overall setup. It really does appear to be the pinnacle of design for the portable torque driver from Borka Tools. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave in the comments section down below or send it to us on Facebook or Twitter. We will leave a link down below to Borka Tools so that you can check out where to get your own Borka torque driver. And until next time, get out and shoot.